Welcome to Dinar Daily, where we deliver timely updates, comprehensive research, and behind-the-scenes insights into the financial stories that matter most, like the widely discussed revaluation of the Iraqi dinar IQD and Vietnamese dong VND. Today, we have information that may be of significant interest to those who have been following this topic for years. For more than a decade, a flood of rumors, baseless claims, and misleading information has circulated, making it challenging to separate fact from fiction. But what we're about to share with you is not another rumor. It's a detailed report based on credible intelligence from a variety of reliable sources. This report is based on carefully gathered information from first-hand conversations with individuals working in the banking industry, confidential internal memos from foreign currency departments, and confirmed details from high-level sources. For the first time in a long time, we are seeing consistent signs that 5 of the largest banks in the United States are discreetly reactivating their foreign exchange (FX) desks to process transactions involving these specific currencies. This development suggests a tangible shift from mere speculation to active preparation. However, it's crucial to understand that this potential opportunity is not yet available to the general public. Access is being managed with great care, and without a clear understanding of the process and a proactive approach, you risk being left out when the window of opportunity opens wider. Before we delve into the details about each of these banks, it's essential to understand why the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong are attracting so much attention in 2025. Both currencies have been seen as undervalued for many years, not because of fundamental issues with their respective economies, but as a result of historical factors such as war, economic sanctions, and external manipulation. Iraq, having faced decades of conflict, is now on a path of political and economic recovery. The nation is leveraging its vast oil reserves and building new international partnerships, which are creating the conditions necessary for a stronger national currency. Meanwhile, Vietnam has spent the last decade emerging as a major global manufacturing and export hub, with its rapid industrial growth drawing comparisons to the economic development of China in its early stages. As these nations become more integrated into the global systems of trade and finance, many currency analysts and investors are closely watching for a potential revaluation, or RV, that could lead to significant changes in their exchange rates. For those who hold physical banknotes of either the IQD or VND, such a shift could potentially result in substantial profits. However, it's important to recognize that simply holding the currency is not enough. Knowing exactly how, when, and where to exchange it is a critical component of the process. This is precisely why the intelligence we are sharing today about specific banks is so vital for anyone who has been tracking the situation. Skeptics may reasonably ask why this year, 2025, is any different from the last decade of speculation. The answer lies in the documented, tangible activity within the U.S. banking system itself. In recent weeks, sources from within the industry have reported that several major banks have reactivated their exotic currency desks, which have largely been inactive since the IQD and VND fell out of mainstream trading in the 2010s. We've seen credible reports of internal memos circulating among treasury divisions at major financial institutions, as well as live rate feeds for IQD and VND being pushed to their internal banking systems. In some cases, high net worth clients have reportedly received discreet communications about setting up preliminary appointments for exchanges, suggesting that limited pilot transactions may already be underway. Unlike past years where the entire conversation was built on conjecture, these developments show clear, system-level preparation. However, these banks are not openly advertising this to the public. Instead, they are carefully managing access, starting with their private banking, premier account holders, and international desks. This means that a proactive and prepared approach is absolutely essential. You cannot simply walk into a local branch with your currency and expect a teller to process the exchange. Instead, you need to follow a managed process that starts with building a relationship with the right departments, documenting every interaction, and demonstrating that you are a serious and compliant customer ready for the official exchange. Procedures when they are fully launched. When we set out to compile this report, our primary objective was to distinguish verifiable information from the surrounding noise. To accomplish this, we applied 3 specific criteria to identify the banks most likely to lead the way in reintroducing IQD and VND exchanges. First, we verified that the bank maintains an active foreign currency desk, as this infrastructure is fundamental to handling such transactions. Second, we examined whether the bank had any history of handling these specific currencies in the past, as prior experience often indicates a readiness to re-engage. Finally, we assessed whether there were current signs of activity, such as insider reports, client confirmations, and internal system updates. Only a select group of 5 major U.S. institutions met all 3 of these strict criteria, and we discovered that they are already showing credible evidence of preparation for these exchanges. These banks include Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citibank, and the U.S. division of HSBC. Each of these institutions has its own unique strengths and approaches to managing exotic currencies, but they all share one common thread. They're quietly preparing for a potentially significant financial event. The rest of this information will break down what we know about each bank and the steps you can take to position yourself effectively for this process. Wells Fargo holds a special position in this story, as it was one of the few major banks that openly handled Iraqi dinar transactions before 2011. After that time, it discontinued their exotic currency services, leading many to believe they would never return to this space. However, as of mid-2025, there are multiple credible reports confirming that Wells Fargo's foreign currency desks in select cities, including Dallas, Atlanta, and Los Angeles, are quietly displaying live IQD and VND updates on their internal systems. This is not public information, and you will not see it on their website or by calling a general customer service number. This intelligence comes directly from conversations with foreign currency specialists and private bankers, who are carefully choosing which clients to share this information with. If you are a Wells Fargo client, the key to positioning yourself is persistence and meticulous documentation. It's a mistake to approach regular tellers who will likely have no knowledge of any IQD or VND activity. Instead, you should ask to speak directly with the foreign currency desk or a branch manager. Every time you make contact, make sure to write down the name of the employee, the date, and the details of your conversation. Over time, this documentation will build a paper trail that could be essential when the official exchange process expands. Wells Fargo's advantage is its past experience, which means it already has the operational knowledge to handle the complexities of these transactions. JP Morgan Chase is more than just a large bank. It is deeply integrated into U.S. Treasury operations and has been a central player in Iraq's financial reconstruction over the past 2 decades. This strategic role makes it one of the most important players in the IQD narrative. In 2025, initial signs suggest that Chase's private client branches are preparing for exotic currency handling, with a specific focus on high-net-worth clients. Inside sources report that managers have begun discreetly flagging accounts that indicate IQD or VND holdings, while certain branches in key financial centers like New York and Chicago have received quiet instructions to prepare for these transactions. For those who are clients of JP Morgan Chase, the recommended course of action is to request a meeting with a branch manager or an investment advisor, not a standard customer service representative. You should present yourself professionally, express your interest in exotic foreign currencies, and ask to be placed on any pre-notification list for exchange events. Given its prominent stature, Chase is likely to prioritize clients with established relationships, so building rapport with your banker now can prove beneficial later. A critical mistake to avoid is being overly aggressive or indiscreet, as Chase places a high value on discretion, and drawing unnecessary attention could hinder your opportunity. Bank of America has long maintained a robust global foreign exchange network and has previously facilitated IQD and VND transactions through its international desks. As of mid-2025, intelligence from inside Bank of America's Treasury operations suggests that internal systems are being quietly updated to specifically accommodate exotic currencies. What makes Bank of America particularly interesting is that certain geographical markets, such as New York, Miami, and Houston, appear to have an advantage due to the high concentration of international business in those regions. Your most effective approach is to contact Bank of America's foreign currency division directly, rather than relying on the general customer service hotline, which can often lead to frustration. If you have or are able to open an account that is linked to international business or frequent travel, you should update your customer profile to reflect this. Doing so increases the likelihood that you will be prioritized when Bank of America begins rolling out exchanges for IQD and VND. One of the most common mistakes investors make is approaching the bank with a casual attitude. By presenting yourself as a serious client with legitimate international needs, you're much more likely to be taken seriously by the internal team that handles these matters. This professional demeanor can make a significant difference in your outcome. Citibank distinguishes itself from other U.S. banks due to its physical presence in Iraq. This unique footprint provides it with direct insight into the country's economic reforms and currency policies. While U.S.-based branches are not yet openly exchanging IQD or VND, there are increasing signs that Citibank's internal systems are being updated in preparation. Private client advisors in multiple regions have hinted at the possibility of pre-registration for exotic currency exchanges, a signal that should not be overlooked. If you're a Citibank Gold or private banking client, you have a distinct advantage here. Your key action step is to speak directly with your assigned relationship manager and delicately inquire about opportunities to pre-register or be notified. If and when exotic currency services are expanded, even vague or non-committal responses should be seen as a positive sign, as they indicate that the topic is being discussed internally. The path to success with Citibank is to leverage your client status. Ordinary retail accounts are unlikely to get very far, but higher-tier clients will be positioned at the front of the line once exchanges begin. This makes Citibank one of the most strategic banks to monitor closely in the coming months. Its direct presence in Iraq gives it an information advantage that other banks may not have, making it a potentially crucial player in this process. Finally, we turn to HSBC, which, while technically a foreign bank, operates a powerful U.S. division and has deep, established ties to both the Middle East and Asia. CIS is a major global player in the foreign exchange market, and inside sources report that institutional clients have already begun processing IQD and VND transactions behind the scenes. This is a highly significant development, as once a bank begins processing such transactions for its institutional clients, it is generally only a matter of time before select retail and private clients are granted access as well. Reports in 2025 indicate that HSBC's premier clients have been directly asked if they hold exotic currencies, which is a clear and unmistakable sign of preparation. For those who bank with HSBC, the most effective move is to schedule a meeting with a relationship manager and inquire about how exotic currency holdings will be handled. The opportunities are likely to be confined to premier or business accounts, so if you are on a standard tier, you should consider upgrading your account status now. HSBC's extensive global reach and experience provide it with a major advantage over US-only banks, but access will likely remain highly exclusive. If you can properly position yourself, however, HSBC could be one of the most effective avenues for early IQD and VND exchanges. Given its global network and institutional readiness, preparation is the most important factor in being taken seriously by a bank. For holders of IQD or VND, your first impression could determine whether you are smoothly advanced through the process or politely turned away. Start by organizing your notes in a meticulous way. The bills should be clean, free from damage, and neatly sorted in envelopes or protective sleeves, as banks will not process soiled, torn, or suspicious-looking notes. Next, gather any proof of purchase you may have, such as receipts or certificates from licensed dealers. Even if the bank does not immediately request this documentation, having it on hand demonstrates your legitimacy. Beyond the currency itself, you should also focus on strengthening your overall banking profile. If you maintain active business accounts, international accounts, or higher-level personal accounts, you will stand out as a serious client worth engaging with. Before making any calls, it's a good idea to draft a simple script to ensure your communication remains professional, calm, and well-informed. You should never sound desperate, conspiratorial, or demanding. Banks respond best to clients who demonstrate composure and seriousness. Finally, you should track everything. Keep a log of who you spoke with, the date and time, and the exact details of the conversation. Over time, this record can prove invaluable if any discrepancies arise. Just as proper preparation can significantly increase your chances, certain missteps can derail your efforts instantly. Nothing raises red flags faster than walking into random bank branches and asking about get-rich-quick currency deals. This approach signals a lack of seriousness and will likely result in your name being flagged internally. Another critical mistake to avoid is flaunting your holdings online. Posting stacks of currency on social media is not only reckless but also dangerous, as it can attract scams, theft, and unwanted attention from regulators. It's also important to steer clear of anyone who promises guaranteed next-day payouts or insider exchange rates. No legitimate financial institution operates in this manner, and those who make such claims are almost certainly running scams. Avoid dealing with unlicensed, third-party brokers entirely. The only safe and compliant path is through established, regulated banks that adhere to strict compliance and reporting laws. Remember, banks are already cautious when handling exotic currencies, and any behavior that makes you appear to be a casual speculator chasing a fantasy can close doors before they even open. Your demeanor, discretion, and respect for the process will matter as much as your currency holdings themselves. By avoiding these common mistakes, you protect yourself legally, financially, and reputationally. The ultimate goal is not just to exchange your notes, but to do so in a manner that ensures you are respected and trusted throughout the entire process. Many currency holders naturally wonder if their local or regional banks will be able to assist them with IQD or VND exchanges. The reality is that most smaller banks simply do not have the necessary infrastructure, specialized compliance departments, or access to the exotic foreign exchange networks required to handle these transactions at scale. However, this doesn't make them irrelevant. Once you have successfully exchanged your currency at a major institution, smaller banks may play a very important role in managing your new wealth. Regional banks often offer strong, personalized service, easier access to branch managers, and flexible options for managing large sums, making them useful for deposits, transfers, or creating a diversified banking footprint after the initial exchange. If you live in a rural area, it is wise to plan ahead for travel to a major metropolitan branch where one of the 5 identified banks operates a full-service foreign exchange desk. Trying to rely on your hometown bank for the initial exchange will almost certainly lead to frustration and dead ends. Instead, think of your smaller institutions as supporting actors in your broader financial strategy, not as the primary venue for the revaluation event itself. You can position them as partners for wealth management once you have cleared the initial hurdle of converting your currency at one of the top-tier banks with proven foreign exchange capabilities and the necessary infrastructure. While a significant amount of focus in revaluation circles is placed on the Iraqi dinar, it would be a mistake to overlook the Vietnamese dong. In fact, in some ways, the dong presents a clearer and more stable opportunity. Vietnam has demonstrated remarkable political stability compared to Iraq's decades of conflict, and its rapid economic growth has positioned it as one of Asia's rising stars. For banks, this translates to greater comfort and fewer compliance concerns when handling VND compared to IQD. Even in 2025, institutions such as HSBC, Citibank, and Bank of America are showing active interest in the dong, with signals emerging from their treasury and foreign exchange divisions. JP Morgan Chase is also tracking VND alongside IQD. indicating that major financial players are keeping a close eye on both currencies. For holders, the key takeaway is to treat each currency as a distinct opportunity that requires its own preparation. If you possess both IQD and VND, you should not assume that they can be exchanged in one single appointment. Separate appointments may be required, and banks may even prioritize one currency over the other. By recognizing the potential of the dong and preparing accordingly, you avoid the mistake of focusing exclusively on the dinar and overlooking what could be an equally significant opportunity. Think of the VND as a quieter but potentially smoother pathway to substantial returns. Given Vietnam's stable and rapidly expanding economy, this dual approach can maximize your potential and provide a more balanced strategy. You should not expect to see banners, commercials, or public headlines announcing that banks are now open for IQD and VND exchanges. The most likely scenario, based on how financial institutions historically handle sensitive events, is a quiet, controlled rollout. This approach is designed to test systems and manage the flow of transactions. Banks will first notify a select group of clients, often high net worth individuals or those with existing relationships, and then gradually expand access as the process stabilizes. This tiered approach allows them to manage risk, ensure compliance with regulations, and prevent their foreign exchange desks from being overwhelmed. If you are already on a bank's radar, meaning you have proactively spoken to the right departments or established yourself as a serious client, you are more likely to receive one of those first calls. If you're not, you may find yourself waiting indefinitely. This is precisely why strategic positioning is absolutely critical right now. The window of opportunity may not remain open for a long time, and those who hesitate or fail to prepare could miss their chance entirely. Think of this not as a public market event, but as a controlled rollout, where access is determined by your preparation, discretion, and established banking relationships. Quiet moves are already happening behind the scenes, and when the gate opens wider, only those who have positioned themselves correctly will be invited to walk through. If you are fortunate enough to secure an appointment, it's important to know what to expect. First, you should understand that not every branch is equipped to handle exotic exchanges. You will likely be directed to a specific foreign currency location. You must bring all required documentation with you, including a valid government-issued ID, your currency notes, and any proof of purchase or certificates you have. You should expect your notes to be meticulously validated, either on-site with specialized equipment or by being securely transported to a processing center. It is important to remember that rates may not be the same for every client. Premier or private clients may have the opportunity to negotiate better terms, while standard account holders may be offered a set rate. Once the transaction is processed, funds may take between 24 and 72 hours to clear into your account, so you should plan accordingly and not expect instant liquidity. Additionally, you should be aware that compliance is an unavoidable part of the process. The IRS requires the reporting of large financial transactions, and banks will conduct full anti-money laundering (AML) checks. While this may feel invasive, it is a standard part of the process for any substantial financial exchange. Throughout your appointment, it is crucial to remain professional and patient, and to keep all receipts and confirmation documents for your records. By walking in prepared and calm, you will ensure your exchange proceeds as smoothly as possible and maintain your credibility as a serious client. That the potential revaluation of the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong represents one of the most compelling financial opportunities of our time. However, opportunities of this magnitude do not simply fall into the laps of the unprepared. We have outlined the 5 major U.S. banks most likely to lead the exchange process, the essential steps you should be taking now, and the critical mistakes to avoid. The bottom line is simple: your financial future in this arena will not be determined by rumors or luck, but by careful preparation, discretion, and discipline. You must get your currency organized, build and maintain strong banking relationships, And reach out to the right departments, not random tellers. Keep your approach quiet, professional, and consistent. Most importantly, you must understand that this is not about chasing hype. It is about strategically positioning yourself for the moment when the real window of opportunity opens. Those who treat this process seriously and with a professional mindset will be in the best position to benefit. Those who treat it like a lottery ticket may find that doors close before they even have a chance to step through them. Stay alert, stay safe, and above all, be ready. When the gates open, there will be no time to scramble, and the rewards will belong to those who have already done the necessary work to position themselves correctly.